I spent most of 2020 in a windowless video production studio. If I wasn't working on a project, I was taking online classes. And while that is what is required in order to advance my company, it certainly isn't helpful toward advancing my health. I need to get out in the sunshine regularly, and flying a drone is a great way to do that. Unfortunately, with a lot of things going wrong here lately, I decided not to do any more flying until after I have successfully passed my FAA exam to become a licensed drone pilot who is actually making money with his drone. I would feel really stupid if I destroyed another one without having ever made any money with it. Though that may seem like a reasonable approach to risk management, the fact is that the pilot in command of an aerial drone must maintain flight proficiency, and given the fact that I had made maybe 20 flights total before I set it aside for study, my flight proficiency degraded significantly since I was last in the air. Safe flight depends on following established procedures, and procedures are established by way of repetition. I had not been in the air long enough for those procedures to become fully established. As such, several serious errors were made in the production of this video. The first and most significant biological threat to an aerial drone in flight is the pilot in command. The pilot in command must not only observe the operational guidelines of the FAA, but he or she should also be cognizant of their overall health. High blood sugar is detrimental to vision, and high blood pressure has a huge impact on decision-making processes, as does fatigue, dehydration, and psychological stress. A pilot should be aware of all aspects of his or her physical and mental condition in order to properly determine the efficiency of their decision-making capabilities prior to flight in order to ensure safe flying conditions. In the video you see here, I am suffering from extremely high blood pressure, and I was unaware of it, which is why I failed to perform several pre-flight procedures, a vital operational pitfall. So it was that shortly after takeoff, I was notified that I had not enabled my collision avoidance programming as I was ascending into a flock of seagulls. I had to get away. I never noticed the birds because I was distracted by the warning on my instruments and was trying to get out of the air safely. Here we see that the natural-born aviators of my area have seen my drone and are taking evasive action. They're much better pilots than I am. As the drone is on the ground during proper pre-flight programming, it can come under the scrutiny of potential predators, but these cats are well fed and do not feel threatened by the drone. Curious and entertained, but not threatened. The impulsive pilot will perhaps be momentarily persuaded to turn his expensive flying machine into a cat toy, but I do my best to stay focused on my goal, which is gaining flight proficiency with several cinematic moves of the camera. The subjects selected were the sunset and dramatic imagery created by the sunset. Because there is always a risk of losing the aircraft with each flight should have an objective, otherwise it is a risk that produces no reward. Unfortunately, this is often taken to a hazardous extreme. The FAA identifies this as the operational pitfall of get-there-itis. This is a disposition that impairs pilot judgment through a fixation on the original goal or destination that can lead to a disregard for an alternative course of action. Soon after returning to the air, I take it out for a flight at a lower level, shooting a parallax shot of the Main Street Bridge. I am at 85 feet and know that anything below 100 feet puts me in the strike zone of several different species of seabirds. Apparently, when trying to achieve a training goal, I forget this. I am aware of the height of the obstacles at the bridge, however. From a cinematic point of view, I begin my ascent a little too soon. From the standpoint of avoiding a bird strike, it was a very good move. Look down. Try to count how many birds you see flying over the river here. Lesson learned. Be at a minimum altitude of 200 feet at sunset over a Florida waterway. Be thoroughly familiar with the patterns and characteristics of everything you share the airspace with. Another reason why I like to fly here is the potential for having an opportunity to shoot video of a train crossing the railroad trestle. I've heard a train coming for quite some time and have been managing my battery to ensure that I will be in the right place at the right time with plenty of power to shoot some video for my grandson. He loves train videos, and shooting them requires me to sharpen my flying skills. Thus, I have two objectives here. Now that I've accomplished the tasks of pushing the line with my camera while flying a scout mission to locate my train, it's time to turn back and get into position to shoot some video. I have plenty of power, excellent signal strength, and still have plenty of light. I also have an opportunity to fly another cinematic move in the course of getting into a proper position at the trestle, so I'm going to make the most of a good training opportunity. And now that I'm in position and I'm fully focused on the task of getting video of this train crossing the trestle over the Trout River, I am fully under the influence of get there-itis. I am so under the spell of this moving train that I am losing situational awareness. I'm not looking at what's going on around me in the air. I am so focused on flying a close, smooth track of this train that I have become unaware of the fact that I am flying blind into occupied airspace. You can look down on the water and see how many birds are actually flying over me now. I am unaware of it, focus more on what is beneath me, and somehow judge the birds that were beneath me to be at a safe distance. Fortunately, now that I am over land, I realize the need for more altitude if I'm going to continue to chase the train. I could do this smoothly in an autonomous flight mode, but that does not do anything to sharpen my flying skills. Finally, I've gotten all the flight training that I feel comfortable pursuing when it comes to this train, so I decide to break it off. Remembering that my primary objective is to practice cinematic camera moves using the sunset and various objects on the ground that are impacted by the dramatic sunset lighting conditions as my subjects. All in all, at this point in the flight, I think things are going well. That's because the screen I'm using to see the live video feed with is so small that I cannot see all the hazards around me that I'm not reacting to. At this point, I'm going to utilize what is left of my remaining flight time to enjoy the moment, to try to fly smoothly without jerking the camera around, and to bring back my aircraft safely. Jacksonville is such a beautiful city. I want to get more aerial shots of the sunset over water from different spots around the city, but I will need permission to fly in those airspaces before I can do it. That takes roughly 90 days to make happen. I need to have my pilot's license before I can even ask. With the exception of the Naval Fuel Depot, the airspace at the mouth of the river, Panama Park, and North Shore is wide open for drone flight. Because I live nearby, it makes a great training area for me. Hopefully, the next aerial drone video that you see from me will be on my commercial YouTube channel with my company logo on it. That will indicate my status as an FAA licensed commercial drone pilot. Then I will be able to fly for a host of paying customers. My wife is getting a license too, and we hope you will join us on our next flight.